All right, so today we're going to be going over the as-is sales contract. Again, my name is Adam. I'm with Bartomeo Realty. I'm the broker here. And we're going to go over page 1 today. We're going to be able to cover all that just here pretty quickly. A lot of it is pretty self-explanatory, so not a whole lot of explanation needed. But the first part, page 1, it's going to ask who's involved in this transaction. It's going to be the buyer and it's going to be the seller. And then whoever those folks are, so it's husband and wife or brother and sister or just one individual, either the seller or the buyer, we put that on there. The next part is number 1, A through E. And that's going to discuss where, what is included, and what is not included. I'm going to read some of that verbatim. But where, so what's the property? Where is it located? The address, the legal description of the property, what county, that kind of stuff. Pretty self-explanatory. We got to know that information in order to sell the property. As far as what is included, I'm going to read this right off of here. Personal property, unless excluded, not included, in letter E, are the following items: range, refrigerator, dishwasher, disposal, ceiling fans, intercom, light fixtures, drapery rods, end draperies, blinds, window treatments, smoke detectors, garage door openers, security gate, and other access devices, and storm shutter panels. All right? So there's a lot of things that aren't included in there. So what about the hood above the microwave? What about the pool equipment? What about the dock? What about the boat lift? Those are things that all needed to be added into the contract as well. Most of the time what we'll do is we will print out the MLS listing and then put on there and everything else as per the MLS listing. So then that will cover usually the boat dock and some other items in there, whether the microwave is in there or not. So, but you have to put that stuff. Pool equipment usually isn't on there, so you include that in there as well. What's not excluded, or excuse me, what is not included. What's not included, we would add any of that stuff that's on there and be very specific. Again, rule of thumb is if it's nailed down, screwed down, or glued down, it's staying with the house. So anything that is nailed down, screwed down, you would want to go ahead and exclude it at this point and have it not included, put it on there. So that would be things like the draperies. I had some folks that wanted to take several windows, draperies from those windows, and I had to put that in there. I have some folks that want to take their pool equipment with them. We put that in there as well. Sometimes the property is furnished, but certain furnishings are not staying, so we put that in the not included section as well. Number 2, A through E. Again, pretty simplistic, pretty understandable, but the first thing is the purchase price and the amount you're going to finance. So how much do you want to pay for the property? What are you offering? And then how much are you going to get a loan on? So if the property you're offering $200,000, you're getting a loan for $100,000. Then at the very bottom, you have to tell them you're coming to closing with $100,000. Okay? Escrow deposit or / good faith deposit. I'm going to have a little bit of a tutorial on this one as well because it gets a little bit in depth. But that's the money you put up front to say, hey, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, I am going to close. If I do not buy this property, I will give you this money here. That's one of the protections that the seller has. It's also asking for who the title company is. Now here in Lee County, the title company is selected normally by the seller. If you go over to Miami-Dade, it's normally selected by the seller, by the buyer. If you go to another county, it's all traditional, and what county does what is what you normally follow. So it just depends on what the title company is, but that has to be filled out. There has to be a title company in there. You don't have to use them, but something has to be in there so we know where to put the escrow deposit because that's who holds the money, the good faith deposit. Number 3 and 4, you have the time for acceptance and the closing date. So you can see here through this, we've already gone through all this information. We're down at this part 2. So time for acceptance is, hey, I'm the buyer. I'm offering you $100,000 for your property, and I want an answer by tomorrow at 5 p.m., a week from now, today at 2 p.m., and you'd fill that out in there. So that's time for acceptance. That's how long they have to accept that contract before we leave and we walk away and try to find another property as a buyer. Closing date, very important, right? So we have to make sure that the closing date, the lender has enough time to close and that the seller has enough time to move. So sometimes on a cash purchase, there is no financing, so you can close as soon as you can transfer the money over. But the title company still has to do their work as well. So usually it's a 2-week swing is what you want to see on a cash offer. When there's a loan involved, you usually want to see about 45 days is about average right now in the state of Florida. My 42, sometimes you can get 30 depending on where they are in the process, but 45 is a safe bet. But yeah, the buyers, the sellers still have to be able to move out of the property, and they need time for that as well. If it's a vacant property, we can move a little bit faster. But some things to keep in mind. So that's just the first page. We're just over 5 minutes at this point. If you need anything, reach out to me, bartomeo.com, or look me up on Facebook, Zillow, YouTube, anywhere you want. I'll have a bunch of these videos coming for you guys. Have a great day.